C64 game, retro gaming goodness.
Welcome, fellow adventurers, and join me, Bastich B, as I'll be exploring classic RPGs from the 8 and 16-bit generations, both console and computer, whether it be high fantasy or lo-fi sci-fi. All roads will eventually lead to Tales of a Dungeon Basher. Mars Saga was released in 1988 by Westwood Studios, originally called Westwood Associates, and was a computer role-playing game set on Mars, released first on the Commodore 64. Westwood themselves were an American software developer from Las Vegas, Nevada, who were founded in 1985 by Brett Sperry and Lewis Castle. They built the company from the ground up, starting by doing support work and porting various games to other systems for companies such as SSR and Epix, but eventually by 1988 released their first original title called Mars Saga, the game we're going to have a look at today. Westwood had an epic run as a developer, giving us games such as Eye of the Beholder, Blade Runner, Command & Conquer, Lands of Lore, and so much more, making them one of the premier names in PC software in the 90s. They were eventually bought by Electronic Arts in 1998 and released a few more underwhelming games before the company was eventually dissolved, a not so uncommon story for many a great developer, unfortunately. But let's go back to the game now, released in 1988 and published through Electronic Arts, and due to a contractual deadline, a C64 version was the only one originally released under the original name. However, a retitled version called Mines of Titan, which plot-wise and gameplay style was basically the same, just now set on Saturn, with the characters' names changed and published by Infocom. The C64 version itself was designed by both Brett and Lewis, with Lewis himself doing programming and graphics. It is a grand and ambitious RPG set on Mars, with your character having crashed his ship on the planet, and now he has to rustle up enough money to repair the vehicle, but while there you uncover a conspiracy involving the Martian government hiding contact that has been made with alien life. It's basically Total Recall before the movie actually came out. The game is huge, even by 1988 standards, with 4 different Martian cities that can be traveled to, as well as mines to explore and the surface of Mars itself, as long as you buy yourself a vac suit, of course. Unlike most RPGs of this era, and most of the 90s to be honest, Mars Saga is extremely accessible to newbies and anyone that's not used to the genre. Even now, some of its features were way ahead of their time. The 3 most notable ones for me are the fact that you don't spend 2 hours customizing characters to form a team before playing the game and then realizing that half of those traits are completely useless. Instead, your main character can be renamed if you want to, and then it's off to the adventure. Party members are recruited in bars initially, where you can interview people and choose to take on whoever you want. The further you get into the game and your reputation rises, the better the recruits will become. Secondly, the game features an auto map feature, which is imperative to finding your way around, with hotspots all marked on these as well. And probably the most user-friendly option is when battles occur, you have the option for the computer to take over and you to just watch, which is extremely advisable in the beginning until you can get to grips with the turn-based action, which itself isn't too complicated. All of these factors immediately make this game fun to get into. The cities themselves are hives of activity, with gambling, bars, hospitals, universities, and so much more to visit, each giving new options to improve your character skills in various ways, from language abilities, hacking, guns, melee combat, etc., which there are 21 skills in total you can learn. Initially, you need money, so hitting up the terminals and looking for job postings is how you get going, and with the money earned you can buy better weapons and suits for walking on that Martian surface, and buy tickets to use to the underground rail system to get you to some of the other big cities as the main plot slowly starts to unfold. Mars Saga is a rich, dense game, packed with detail and things to do, but remains one of the most accessible 8-bit computer RPGs you'll ever come across, and it's an extremely underrated C64 RPG. It received good reviews in both Ace Magazine and Zap64 at the time, both praising the depth and easy nature of its gameplay, and as a game I'd highly recommend you invest some time into. It's honestly worthy of your attention.